A deli worker in New York City was under fire by the general public for what some are calling a cold-blooded homicide that went down in the middle of the summer of 2022, while others see what he did as self-defense. By the time I'm done telling this story, you decide which side you're leaning towards the most as the listener. This is the story of Austin Simon. Now, in almost all, if not all of my videos, I give the victims backstories to humanize them, give insight on who they were and what other people spoke to about their personalities before going into the tragic part of the story. However, in today's story, I won't be able to provide much about Austin outside of the incident, as I simply couldn't find anything. Not an obituary, not a social media post speaking to who he was as a person, like in detail. So I'll just be jumping straight into the story itself. And if there's anyone who knows Austin Simon personally that may see this video and you're able to speak to his character, feel free to do so in the comments. You're more than welcome to shed some light to his persona before this unfortunate occurrence took place. So with that being said, let's get into the story. It was a Friday summer night in New York City, July 1st, 2022. A young woman who I've only seen being identified as Austin's girlfriend and her 10-year-old daughter had entered the Blue Moon convenience store at 3422 Broadway near West 139th Street in the Harlem section of Manhattan at approximately 11 p.m. according to news reports. Apparently, the 32-year-old woman at the time was trying to purchase some items that her daughter wanted from the store. So she handed the store clerk, Jose Alba, her card to pay for the items. Now, some reports say it was a debit card and some reports say it was an EBT card. For those of you who may not know what an EBT card is, it's a card that holds food stamp funds and you use it to pay for fresh groceries, food items, steamed seafood, or depending on how cool you are with the store workers, you could get a whole lot with your food stamps that isn't even a food item, things that go down in the hood. And some people might be listening to this like, who don't know what a food stamp card is? So listen, some people don't. But anyways, moving right along, regardless of what type of card it was, she handed him a card to pay for the items. However, Jose, the store clerk, told the young lady that the card wasn't working. So she began to get a bit frustrated at that moment, telling him to keep trying to process the payment. Jose, frustrated as well, did as she asked and kept trying, but to no avail. So now at this point, according to what the woman said, she said that Jose took the bag of chips out of the 10-year-old girl's hands since it wasn't getting paid for. She said Jose snatched the bag of chips from the little girl. And this is when the mom starts going off. She's cursing Jose out. Jose claimed she was knocking things off the counter onto the floor, including the card reader, saying that she broke it. And, she just got really belligerent at that time. Upset that Jose allegedly snatched the chips from the little girl, the mother told Jose that she was going to go get her man to come confront him. So she calls out for her man, Austin, to come into the store. At this point, it's believed she told Austin that Jose was aggressive with the little girl, snatching the item from her. So Austin comes into the store real aggressive, and he walks behind the counter to approach Jose. As he's approaching Jose, you can hear Jose telling Austin in the surveillance video that caught all of this, you could hear Jose telling Austin that he doesn't want any problems with him. He's like, no, papi, no problem. But Austin wasn't trying to hear that. He was yelling obscenities at him, cursing him out. He was just really angry and he was in Jose's face. And then boom, he literally puts his hands on Jose, forcefully pushing him down into the shelves behind the counter. As Jose is down, Austin is standing over him, still yelling at him, and he's like shifting back and forth. His body language is extremely threatening towards Jose. He then goes further to snatch Jose up by the collar of his shirt, still physically intimidating him. Only what Austin didn't know was that would be the last time he'd be hemming anybody up by their collar, because in this moment is when Jose reached for a knife behind the counter and he stabbed Austin in the neck area several times, at least 3 times, at most 5, taking Austin's life instantly right in front of his girlfriend and the 10-year-old baby girl's faces. Austin instantly dropped to the floor after getting stabbed repeatedly, and of course there was pandemonium in the store as other witnesses were there as well, including another woman who was screaming for the police to be called. And once the police got there, she demanded that they arrest Jose. Now, I do have the video of what happened linked in my community tab. It's two different angles. One of the angles you can hear it with the audio, while the other angle doesn't have any audio. But you can see that by clicking on the link that's in my community tab. I could not include that video in my video because YouTube would have loved kicking me out the algorithm for it. So make sure you visit the community tab to see what happened for yourself. Anyway, right after Jose stabbed Austin, he appeared to possibly be in shock as he was eerily calm. He kept looking at Austin's blood on his own hands and arms as he awaited for the police to arrive. And when they got there, he was still very calm. And word in New York City spreads fast when things happen, especially with the help of the Citizens app. But even without it, shit spreads fast. So with that being said, thousands of people voiced their opinions online when they heard about what happened. They were speaking to the news, saying how they saw the situation as self-defense on Jose's behalf. Regardless, the NYPD did arrest Jose and sent him to Rikers Island on a $250,000 bond, sending the public into an uproar because they did not believe that Jose deserved to go to jail for what happened. And sadly, 35-year-old Austin Simon was transported by the EMS to Harlem Hospital, where he was officially pronounced deceased. Hundreds of thousands of people went onto their social media accounts to express their anger towards the law for arresting Jose. You had half of the people defending him in the name of self-defense, including his daughter, a young lady named Yulisa, who said it was either him or Austin in that moment, and she said her father never even had an altercation before that day, stating it was his first time ever being in a situation like that. And then you had half of the people saying he was dead wrong and even believed that his crime was culture driven. Because if you didn't know, and I mentioned this in a video before, but here in New York City, I don't know how it is in other places, but here in New York City, although it's a melting pot and a lot of us live in the same communities, you do see a lot of times where like the Hispanics like to separate themselves from the Black Americans, whether they're like Black Hispanics or non-Black Hispanics. A lot of times, especially within like the Dominican culture, they do like to separate themselves from Black Americans, especially uptown Manhattan like Harlem or Washington Heights or Dykeman and in parts of the Bronx. Shoot, even on the east side of Harlem, you got a little community on 116th Street where the majority of the population is Mexican and they stick to themselves. And so anyway, the point I'm making is the part of the public who felt like Jose was wrong also felt like he may have had a prejudice against Austin based on Jose being of Dominican descent and Austin being a Black man. Now, not long after Jose's arrest, a GoFundMe page was created to raise funds to assist in paying for Jose's bond and legal fees, as it was learned he was being charged with second-degree homicide. However, after raising $20,000, the GoFundMe platform took the page down and refunded everyone the money to everyone who donated. Radamez Rodriguez, the president of BonitaBocazas of America, who also happens to run his own bodega in the Bronx, told the New York Post publication that they would be relaunching another GoFundMe to help Jose. He said, quote, "We will defend this man. The attacker went behind the counter. Jose doesn't deserve to be in jail. It's not right. It's very sad. These bodegas are mom and pop shops. This could have happened to me. It could have happened to anybody," end quote. He also stated that a rally was being planned on behalf of Jose outside of the Manhattan DA's office of Alvin Bragg, because the DA's office brought the charges up against Jose, which had him facing a possible sentence of up to 15 to 25 years. And they were pushing for the bond to be up to $500,000. They also deemed him to be a flight risk, claiming he had the potential of leaving and going to the Dominican Republic. Mayor Eric Adams spoke up on behalf of Jose, saying, quote, "My heart goes out for this hard-working, honest New Yorker that was doing his job in his place of business where a person came in, went behind the counter, and attacked him," end quote. You had customers even speaking up for Jose, calling him a great guy, saying he was a hard worker, making an honest living. He was nice to everyone, and they believed that Austin was capable of possibly taking Jose's life, and for that reason, he shouldn't be charged. Throughout this story and my research about it, all the talk surrounding it became very much more so about Jose than it was about Austin and whether or not Jose was also a victim. In fact, Austin was being highlighted in the media as an ex-con with a criminal record. It was revealed that Austin's 32-year-old girlfriend, who has not been named, had actually stabbed Jose in the shoulder, arm, and hand during the altercation, but she was not brought up on any charges as police deemed her to be defending her boyfriend. The following week, after the stabbing of Austin, On Thursday, July 7th, 2022, Jose was released from Rikers after a judge agreed to a significantly reduced bail package at a court hearing. Jose's attorney and prosecutors agreed to the amount of $50,000, and after Jose's son, who is the owner of the store that Jose worked at, and a representative of the City Bodega Workers Group came together, they were able to bond Jose out with $5,000 under the conditions that Jose wore an ankle monitor, gave up his passport, and agreed not to leave the 5 boroughs, to which his attorney said he absolutely was willing to abide by those terms. After the court hearing, Austin's family left the courtroom in tears. They were angry, saying how it wasn't fair that Jose was able to be bailed out. They spoke to Austin's character as a great father who took care of all his children and that he was a good man.
I would say he's a loving man. He takes care of his kids and everything. My name is Tina Lee. I'm his daughter's mother.
You're his mother?
Yeah.
What can you say about Mr. Simon?
He was a good father. He was a good man.
And was he attacking the employee that night?
I don't know anything about that. But I believe due to his character, I don't believe so.
But what about the video? Did you see the video?
No, I couldn't watch that.
You couldn't watch that?
No, I couldn't. But I believe it was, it made me look bad, but it wasn't what it looked like. Trust me.
The way how the man did, he had stabbed my neck all the many times like that.
And see, he has a strong support system. This is his family.
Ma'am, are you aware of the video that has been going around? Have you seen it at all?
No.
You have not?
Jose nor his family had any words for the press after the court hearing. However, when media showed up to his door to interview him on Monday, July 11th, 2022, Jose did speak with them briefly. He was asked if he had any words for Austin's family, and Jose apologized to the family. He said he was very sad and was deeply sorry for what he'd done and the pain that he's caused them. He said he never expected any of the events to happen that day, and he was still in shock. He said, quote, "I tell them that I didn't want this to happen. I don't know at the moment how this happened, but I'm also sad. I know what the pain is. I ask that they please forgive me because I didn't want to do that," end quote. The following week after that, it was reported that the judge in this case had officially dismissed the charges against Jose on Tuesday, July 19th, 2022 at a court hearing. How did this happen? Well, after the public rage was loud and clear, the Manhattan DA's office filed a motion to dismiss the second-degree homicide charge. They said they couldn't prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Jose's actions were unjustified. Therefore, they wouldn't bother presenting the case to a grand jury.
Murder charges against a New York City bodega worker have been dropped after growing outrage. We told you how Jose Alba is accused of stabbing and killing a man who police say attacked him behind the counter. He has said that he acted in self-defense. News Sports' Gabi Acevedo live in Hamilton Heights with the latest this afternoon. Gabi.
Natalie, customers and people around the block have different opinions on this case. The judge dismissed the charges against Jose Alba after the Manhattan DA's office said it could not prove this case beyond a reasonable doubt. The deadly confrontation caught on surveillance video. 61-year-old Jose Alba stabbed a man who attacked him inside this bodega here in Hamilton Heights. 35-year-old Austin Simon was killed. Alba was hit with a second-degree murder charge and spent some days in jail locked at Rikers Island, sparking outrage from the community who said Alba was defending himself. After a lengthy investigation, prosecutors dropped the case, the decision coming after the Manhattan DA's office interviewed witnesses and first responders, reviewed medical records, and analyzed multiple videos of the incident.
Everybody's seen the videos. I mean, what can we say?
Prosecutors filing a motion to dismiss the charges, saying the district attorney's office has concluded that a homicide case against Alba could not be proven at trial beyond a reasonable doubt. Mayor Adams agreeing with the decision.
In this case, we had an innocent, hardworking New Yorker that was doing his job, and someone was extremely aggressive towards him. And I believe that after the DA's review, the DA, in my opinion, made the right decision.
People who know Alba say he's still traumatized by the incident.
I would be too. You took somebody's life.
Treated people, you know, how with respect. He never disrespected nobody.
Though some disagree with the charges being dismissed.
He shouldn't have did what he did. That wouldn't have caused that to happen. So.
We tried to speak to Jose Alba, who was at home waiting for the hearing to be over, but he declined to comment. So did his lawyer. We are told that at some point in the next few hours, marshals will pay a visit to Mr. Jose Alba to collect his ankle bracelet.
In August of 2022, Jose's loved ones told people that he was planning on going back to the Dominican Republic, possibly for good, but if not, at the very least, to visit for a short while. They said he was traumatized, he was no longer working at the store, and he was tired of being in the crime-ridden city of New York. They said he was trying hard to gain some sense of normalcy again in his life, but he was struggling, and they were trying to seek some professional help for him. I'm imagining that would be some form of therapy or something like that. Now, in September of 2022, Austin's brother, David Simon, did hire an attorney to pursue a lawsuit against the grocery store for damages that resulted in Austin's death. But Jose's son, the owner of the store, said the store didn't have any insurance at the time of the horrific event, and although they now have insurance, they were worried that Austin's family was going to try and clean them out for every penny that they had left. They called it a shakedown by Austin's family and just said that they hoped the lawsuit wouldn't go through due to Jose's actions being deemed self-defense. And speaking of lawsuits, Jose was getting ready to file a lawsuit of his own against the city of New York for wrongfully prosecuting him for the 6 days he served at Rikers Island before getting bailed out. In September of 2022, Jose filed notices of claim against the city and the Manhattan District Attorney's Office for $10 million, alleging they wrongfully brought a case against him for the death of Austin. The notices claimed the NYPD botched the investigation and withheld critical evidence from the DA's office that would have cleared Jose's name before his arrest. Jose also filed a notice of claim against the City Health and Hospitals Corporation, claiming that he wasn't given proper medical treatment for his stab wounds during his time at Rikers, which resulted in his stab wounds being infected at the time. Jose also claimed that the case had been mishandled from the jump, starting from when the police arrived at the scene and failing to initially take witness statements, including failing to take a statement from him. Instead, he said the police went solely based on the word of Austin's girlfriend. He also claims the police failed to even look at the video footage of the incident, which was available at that time, and would have shown no criminal liability on Jose's part, thus the strong possibility of preventing any jail time at all. And he claimed he wasn't taken to the hospital for treatment of his stab wounds, despite his requests to be seen by medical professionals. He alleges that instead, the police brought him to the 30th precinct to interrogate him. Well, a year after these claims, on Friday, September 29th of last year, Jose went on to file the lawsuit for racial discrimination against DA Alvin Bragg. Lawyers for New York City called for the suit to be dropped on behalf of sufficient probable cause to arrest and prosecute Jose, and going directly against Jose and his reps, stating their investigation was thorough, and they did utilize witness statements, surveillance, and the statement from Austin's girlfriend. Now, as of today, in March of 2024, there aren't any updates on whether or not Jose's lawsuit has been tossed. He still seems to be here in New York City, and Austin's family is still mourning his death. There's also no updates on whether or not Austin's brother's lawsuit ever went through. I think most would agree that this entire situation is just very unfortunate and was absolutely avoidable. Rest in peace to Austin Simon. May your spirit live on with your children, your family, and anyone who has been affected by your absence. My condolences go out to everyone who's ever loved him. May you never forget him.